it's a different situation because he hadn't scored 10 points in a game. I don't even think at that low this whole playoffs. So what happened with James Harden? Jonathan, you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. James
Okay, cool.
Harden, it's hard to tell, Ben. I don't know. Seriously, I don't know if it's if somebody got to him. I don't know if the league got to him or anything like that. I don't know what about the conspiracy theories. I have to say I don't know anything about this. But James Harden looked like he didn't want to play at all. To have that bad performance by James Harden is just unheard of to hear, just because of the type of season he had. He went 2 for 11. He only shot 6 free throws, 6 free throw attempts. He made 4, 6 turnovers, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds. That's the opposite of what James Harden's been doing this whole season. He had an ugly loss. The games before that, he played great. He didn't really have a bad game, except for really the second game where he scored 13 points. The last 3 games, he scored 33 points, then 28 points, then 43 points. He only had 11 shot attempts, and that's something to say about the coaching. But one thing that I do know that possibly changed James Harden mindset and his whole focus is that the Rockets changed their lineup in Game 7. That's not something that you do. You don't fix nothing that don't need to be broken. It was going to Game 7. I don't know why Mike D'Antoni put Eric Gordon inside the lineup. That's just something that he shouldn't have done. That's possibly changed up James Harden momentum, or that's possibly changed up James Harden thought process. But Eric Gordon didn't have the same game that he usually have. He had 6 points with 2 for 9. But however, James Harden did not have a great game. He just looked lackadaisical out there. But there needs to be an APP called out on James Harden for that game. There needs to be an investigation. Everything needs to happen to James Harden to see why that game happened like that the way he did. But it's going to be hard for James Harden to revive from that. It's going to be hard for him to do that. He have to win a championship or something just to get that off his bad resume. But everybody is going to be remembering that. Everybody is going to be talking about that until James Harden go to the next year playoffs and do something. But that was the most awful performance that I ever seen from a star player in the playoffs at Game 7. That's horrible.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy outing for Harden. I did not see that game going down that way at all. I expected that to honestly go down to like the end. Go down to the end. Be a close game. Be a closer game than what that was. So I was completely shocked to see that. It's going to be a long off season for the Rockets, a long off season for James Harden. Also, you got to think about the comment from D'Antoni saying that he should have rested him more. I was a little taken aback about that because it seemed like James Harden was all gun-ho and about not taking rest. And then his coach comes out and says, well, maybe we should have rested him more. So there's a lot to that comment. And I think when we get to next season, I definitely think we're going to see some moments where there may be some button of heads between Harden and D'Antoni, and there's going to be some resting for sure.
Possibly, and that comes with getting another star on the team for the Rockets. They're in a good place right now. They have great shooters, but other than James Harden, there's nobody else on the team that went to the All-Star game. That's not another superstar on that team. James Harden, they need another superstar on their team, and that comes with getting a real shooting guard. I know Patrick Beverly is nice. He's a point guard, but James Harden is the point guard now. You cannot have James Harden as a point guard and Patrick Beverly as a shooting guard. That's not what it works. I know Patrick Beverly is a good player on defense. His defense is very well, and I know the Rockets need to get that, but they can find a two-way shooting guard player easily, possibly in the draft or in the offseason. Maybe if they don't want to do it next offseason, they could do it in 2 years. But in order to fix this Rockets team to be able to be more of a championship team, to get them back to the Western Conference Finals, they need to keep James Harden at the point guard position, and they need a superstar at the number 2 position. They have Trevor Ariza for the number 3. They have Sam Dekker for the number 3 who could play the fourth position. They need a number 2 player that can actually play that position and play defense a little bit well, that can average over 18 points per game along with James Harden, so you get him more times on the bench. At least 2 players should be on the court at least one time, and the other one is on the bench. That's unacceptable for the Rockets. They need to notice that, and they need a superstar at the shooting guard position if you're going to put James Harden at the point guard position. Patrick Beverley is not a shooting guard.
Yeah. And Patrick Beverley really is just like a scrappy defender who on and off may have a good game, a good scoring game. Almost would compare him to like a Bruce Bowen, where he's just abusive on the defensive end, but his scoring is not consistent. So there's a lot to that, and we'll see as we get into next season. But appreciate you so much for coming on once again, Jonathan Bates. He is an NBA editor for Roto Den, also MLB writer for Row Baseball MLB. He also is a co-host of the Sports Sanity Show. So appreciate you for coming on. Make sure you go follow him, Jonathan J. Bates, on Twitter. Take care.
You too.
All right, so that was Jonathan J. Bates. Great to have him on the show. Man, I got to give a shout out. Whoops, hit the button on the mic. Have to give a shout out right now to my sister Deidre Sutter, who's listening in. Also, my mom. Happy Mother's Day to you, and my grandmother, who is actually listening to the show right now. So happy Mother's Day to you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day to you, Grandmommy. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. I got to give a round of applause to all the mothers. Also, my wife, Erica Sutter. Happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. All right, so I got to say this. Maestro, appreciate you for jumping in on the chat room. Man, you've been active. Appreciate you. He says, is Harden going to be a Hall of Famer? This was first real pivotal moment, but I think it's a real question because even though I think he'll be statistically, he don't seem clutch. I agree. There was a lot on the line in that game, and he folded. Plain and simple, the guy folded. So will James Harden be a Hall of Famer? As of right now, I would have to say no. I think you have to have regular season is great. Regular season is awesome. You could have the most points. You could have the most threes. You can average a triple-double, which Westbrook has done. So that puts him in a different status, I think, than Harden. But you have to have a pivotal, I think, playoff game or playoff run where you make it to the Western Conference, where you make it to the championship game, something. And to me, Harden is not it. And I agree. He doesn't seem clutch. And I don't even know if statistically he's going to be there. I don't know. I don't know if that we can clearly say that Harden is a good player. Is he a future Hall of Famer? As of right now, I have to say no. And he doesn't seem to have that killer instinct either. He doesn't have that Kobe-ness in him. Westbrook has that. Westbrook has that killer instinct. As much as people hate him, as much as people want to talk about him, he has that killer instinct. And he will run you over if that's what he has to do to win the game. He will do whatever it takes to win the game. And that is the thing about that killer instinct that you either have or you don't have. You either have it or you don't. Big shout out to my man Joe, cowboysblog.net. As always, for always jumping in on the chat room. Appreciate you as always. I'm always tagging him into posts, and I appreciate him so much. Go check out cowboysblog.net if you are or are not a Cowboys fan, just go to the site. Go check it out. He's got some great stuff on there. Give my man some hits. Also, he's got a YouTube channel, cowboysblog.net. Go check it out. Also, my man Chief Rocka, who's in the chat room, I believe he's got 3 shows. He's got a show on X Squad Affiliates. He's got a show on WSME. So you can go check those out, xsquadaffiliates.com or WSMEradio.com. Also, like I said, Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. DJ Nunu, who's on Spreaker. She's with MCDE. So, Antonio Wilborn says, I would say yes. You don't have to be clutch to be a Hall of Famer. When his career is over, he will have an amazing stats. Never will be all-time great, but he'll be a Hall of Famer, no doubt. Okay. I'm going to disagree, though. I don't think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I just don't. Tony Wilburn also says, being Kobe and Jordan is impossible. There's not very many with that instinct. That's a great point right there. You actually open my eyes in saying that point. You're right. But at some point in time, you have to be able to win games when they're on the line. I do think you have to say that. I do think you need to have that under your belt. A couple of games. To me, you have to have games where it'll be 10, 20 years from now, and people are like, you remember that James Harden game where he took the game over? You remember that game where he put the team on his back? There's not any games like that to me. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But there's not any games where James Harden put the team on his back with the game on the line. All right, so, and of course, my Chief Rockers got to say, Cowgirls, whatever. Wait until the season starts. Season game opener. I'm calling it right now. Cowboys are going to get the win. We'll see, though. But I'm going to call you out, Chief Rocker, for sure, if we end up beating them Giants. All right, so we're going to take a break. Right after that, we're going to get into UFC 211. Yesterday, I talked with my man Matt Marcil of MMA Boxing Talk. He's got a YouTube channel, MMA Boxing Talk on YouTube. Also, go follow him, MMA Boxing Talk 1. So what we're going to do, take a quick break. Right after that, we'll play that interview. It is pre-recorded, so I apologize, but it's a great interview, a great talk, UFC 211. Then after that, we will get into Cowboys and Rangers. So we will be right back.
Curves without claiming bankruptcy. It's time for Plug Fashions. Fashions on a budget. Go online to plugfashions.com. From jewelry to makeup, from dresses to jeans to shoes, Plug Fashions specializes in clothing for plus size and petite women, all within your budget. Fashion you can afford and free shipping? Yes, please. Go online to plugfashions.com. Plug Fashions. Fashion on a budget.
Hey, are you looking for a straightforward car guy? Someone that's going to keep it straight, keep it forward, honest, with integrity? Go visit my man ShawnNataneti at Jerry Durant Toyota, Texas. He's the internet sales manager. You can go check out his website, go Shawn Audio, that's SHAWN audio.com. Even if you're not in Texas, he can still sell you a car. Once again, the internet sales manager at Jerry Durant Toyota. Call or text him at 817-231-3696 or ShawnNataneti at gmail.com. And we are back in the BS3 Sports Show. And we got my man Matt Marcil of MMA Boxing Talk to talk about UFC 211. How's it going?
Not too bad. I'm excited for these fights tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype with